Hello and welcome to episode 320 of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and what a wild NBA week since we talked last Sunday. I thought pretty much was assuming it was going to be four and go, 4 and out, and the Celtics have managed to win 3 games.
And they've always been the better team. You just figured there's no way they're going to win 4 in a row. And now they're going back to...
We both picked them originally. We both picked the Celtics. You picked the Nuggets and Celtics. I picked the Lakers and Celtics.
Yeah.
But we both picked it, and the Heat were surprising us. And I thought, as bad as the Celtics played in Game 3, I didn't ever see them winning a Game 4.
No, and it was more than just... It seemed like they weren't cohesive as a team. The coach, who now apparently is going to come back as the coach, right?
And your mother was giving me grief this morning because I was saying he'd get fired, and now obviously he's not going to get fired.
He is one of the least impressive coaches I've ever seen on television, though. He seems like such a pill, such a wet blanket.
But he must have something going for him because they've been winning those 3 games.
Yeah, it's not charisma.
No, it's not charisma at all.
Yeah, if he was an RPG character in a video game, he would have 0 charisma. Maybe his strategy skills are really high because I'm like, I don't know what they see in him, but it's something. So
they've been doing a good job on Jimmy buckets.
Yeah.
Putting always a couple guys on. I mean, they've done what everybody should have done throughout the whole playoffs. I mean, they've got bodies around him all the time, forced him to give up the ball, and it was so bad yesterday that he was actually not even looking to shoot for a while.
Yeah. It's after he iced those 3 free throws, though, you figured that was game, right?
I figured that was game.
Because that felt like one of those...
As I said to you, I'm watching the broadcast, and Stan Van Gundy said when the Celtics took when the Heat took their 5th player and put him into the mix, didn't guard the inbounder, tried to make it harder to throw the inbounds pass, Stan Van Gundy said, it's a good strategy as long as you make sure you get a body on the inbounder and don't let him go unimpeded to the hoop.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
It's pretty crazy.
It is. And I mean, that was, whenever he tipped it, I knew it was good.
Yeah. And I mean, shout out to the Celtics. Like I said, it seemed like besides them just playing poorly, like, it looked like there was chemistry stuff. I mean, there's always the Jaylen Brown thing lurking where as good as he is, second team all NBA this season, like he's always been in trade rumors, I think, almost his entire career, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure every year when it's like, who's going to get traded to break Boston better? And it's like, Jaylen Brown. I'm sure that gets to you, right?
And now, I guess they're on the hook for about $270 million extension.
Yeah.
Because he made all NBA?
Well, when they were down 0-3, which has never been come back from in this round, you started looking at the Blazers and that number 3 pick and Anthony Simons and Shaden Sharp and a future first, and you keep Tatum and you bring in these young guys like a Brandon Miller or a Scoot Henderson and build from there. And Dame gets his, all-star to play alongside. But now I think regardless of what happens in the Garden, which is hard to imagine them losing, and you're going to another finals with these two, and you bring them back and ride it out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the first, they're forced into Game 7. Nobody's ever won a Game 7 after being down 3-0, except this is the first time that Game 7's ever been played at home.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's the big thing, is
That's the big thing.
Miami's up 3-0 with 2 games left in Miami, including last night's Game 6. And, last night you think about, obviously, you didn't block out or get a body on Derek White, the inbounder, who with 0.1 second left. It was 0.1 on that clock when he tipped it in. And then Duncan Robinson had that wide open 3 late in the game where he had minutes to. It felt like an eternity to sit there and think about making that shot. And he's a great 3-point shooter and just bang to
Yeah, he missed 2 wide open 3s in the last minute and a half. And either one of them would have iced the game.
Yeah.
But coulda, woulda, shoulda, as we always talk about, right?
Right. And like I said, this series has been bizarre from day one, but it's hard to imagine you'd bet on Miami.
Well, And now I'll put the curse on Denver because now I'm going to say I don't see any way Denver could lose to either of these two teams.
See,
And since I'm always wrong, here we go.
well, I was going to reverse jinx it. I was like, if there's a team that I don't think Miami had a shot in hell against Denver. I think that would have been a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. That would have guaranteed. I would have said Nuggets in 4 and put money on it against this Celtics team, who when they are playing at their best, they're one of the most. I think they're more talented than Denver 1 through 9.
They've got a lot of talent. There's no question about it.
And like you said, they've got.
They're on. They're scary.
Yeah.
Like that game 5. They were unreal in game 5.
Yeah. I haven't looked at the analytics of the numbers, but I mean, you got Horford, Rob Williams. You got bodies to throw at Jokic, which again isn't the best thing ever. He'll probably still do what he's going to do, but you at least have, sort of like that old school. Who was it that had was it the Lakers or somebody that had 18 feet of fouls?
Yeah.
And you got that. Then you got Tatum and Brown. They're a really good team. I mean, it's
Well, Robert Williams is not an offensive player, but he sure is disruptive on defense.
He is. And Jokic isn't the athlete to take advantage of Horford, I would say. Whereas Horford does really well against, big, powerful guys like the MVP, Joel Embiid. I think Jokic is another guy he could have, not success against per se, but hold his own.
He could have an impact.
He could have an impact, exactly. Because he's a wily veteran that knows how to use his body, and he's not going to get outspeeded. And he's a hustling play, too. So, I mean...
Well, everyone, you got basketball on Memorial Day, meaningful basketball. So, enjoy the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's incredible. Let's do a weird business NBA story, Dad. I didn't tell you about this one. John Morant, new shoe came out, sold out right away.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, but he is, regardless of the off the court things.
Yeah.
He's a very, very dynamic player, highly entertaining, very athletic. I said on our show months ago that he's one of those players that I would always pay to watch.
Yeah.
So that's not surprising to me because it's not going to be, you're not going to not buy his shoe because all of a sudden you think he's not a nice person or he's waving a gun. And for some people, that's probably why they bought the shoe.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like there's been a little backlash because, if you look at the entire thing, like after the second time, JJ Redick came out with his, he didn't do anything illegal. He did stuff irresponsible and punishable, but nothing illegal, right? Because it's in Tennessee where you can have open carry.
Yep.
And then Barkley called him an idiot. And then you had sort of the wellness check on John Morant. You wonder about, was there really some mental health issues going on before and he just didn't really get any help and he needs it again?
It's a complicated story. I mean, we don't know because we're not walking around in his shoes.
Yeah, and as Barkley pointed out, I mean, you don't know all the intimate details of what people are like behind closed doors, but you look at some of John Morant's hangers-on, including his dad running around in sunglasses, and you don't get the feeling that he's going to tell his son no or get him help. He's just, enjoying the ride. And that's that tough balance. And then while we're on, I guess, NBA and New Orleans stuff, Charles Barkley once again called out Zion for being a fatty.
And Charles would know.
Yeah.
Charles would know what a fatty is.
And again, if you look, I mean, I know he was always the round mound of rebound, and he was never going to be, old school men's catalog sort of attractive body kind of guy. He's always been a dad bod, Charles Barkley. But his weight, when he gained it or lost it, never seemed to affect his ability to stay on the floor.
No, in his early days in Philadelphia, he was dynamic.
Yeah, and if you look at the pictures of him, he was like... You see him now, and you remember those late games in Phoenix where he was a little bit more round and when he first came in. But he had a few years in Phoenix or in Philly where he was in really good shape.
Yeah, he was dynamic in Philly. He was dynamic for that year in Phoenix. It's when he went to Houston and really porked up that he was a shell of himself.
Well, probably the best food city of the three. So, but it was just yeah.
Well, I've been watching I think it's called Rich and Shameless on TNT. Is that what it's called?
It sounds like a
After
show.
the NBA games.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And they had a show on Lorenz and Wright the other night, which had some. It was really a disturbing story
Yeah.
about how his wife and had plotted to have him killed, and actually participated in the killing. In the 911 call, he's on the phone. He's running through the woods, and all you can hear is multiple gunshots, like about 15 gunshots. It was very disturbing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, on a more positive note, I guess I'm going to talk about the Women's College World Series.
Go right ahead.
And Oklahoma won their 48th in a row yesterday. And I sat there watching it and knowing they could have really lost it. They were winning 4-0, then it was 4-2, then it was 7-4 Clemson. And it was 7-4 Clemson in the bottom of the seventh. OU had two people on and were down to their last strike. And I'm thinking, wow, they could really lose. And I was watching expressions on the face of the catcher that was up at bat. And, she seemed really confident. And she took that, two strikes, hit the next pitch out, tied the game at 7. They won in the 9th. They're going to their 16th straight World Series. I don't see anybody beating them 2 games, which is what it would take to knock them out. So and I'm putting a curse on them, but I really don't think even I can curse them from not winning the Women's College World Series. They're the most dominant collegiate dynasty that I've seen since UCLA men's basketball in the 70s. I've never seen anybody this dominant. So, I'm going to watch. It's going to be fun. My Oklahoma State women are in, but it doesn't matter. This is as close to the OU Invitational as you can have. I just don't see them losing again. They're too good.
Well, do you want another "you were right" moment?
Yeah. I don't get too many of them.
All right. See if you know who said this week. I quote, "It was a little petty, the guarantee stuff. I'm thinking I could have just ate it. Yeah, I probably could have. Yeah, I probably really ate it." That's former Steeler Le'Veon Bell saying he should have just taken Pittsburgh's contract.
Yep. We called that one. That one, I'm right, but I'm sad.
Yeah.
Because I just think that, it really cost them a lot of money. A lot of money, and a lot of, and it cost the Steelers an opportunity to compete realistically for a Super Bowl, because he was unbelievably playing in that system.
Yeah, he was. If people didn't watch him, they've already missed who he was. He was very Christian McCaffrey-like. He's
very much so.
He was a great run of the football, and he was 70, 80 catches. And
he was better than Christian McCaffrey because he never got hurt.
That's true.
He didn't miss more than a game or so each time. If he got dinged up, maybe 2 games, but never 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, and he had this weird, very patient, pick his hole and then explode through as a runner. And like I said,
he was a nightmare when he was out for a pass.
Yeah, you put him in the slot, and he was a big, he was big enough that DBs had trouble, and he was fast enough, linebackers, he was, yeah. And he said this week that, he would love to get signed to the active roster and get a chance to show what he could do in preseason. Or at least retire a Steeler, get one more carry. Which, I don't know if he has that kind of love from the organization, but I just, I guess the grass is not always greener, as they say.
It is. So what's he doing now? Still trying to be a rapper?
He challenged Vontez Burfict to a boxing match. He's in that phase of his career. But just trying to stay relevant. And I think, he's in that range where, if you're a 30-year-old running back, the NFL has no use for you, right?
Now, how old is he now?
I think he's 30 or 31. But,
wow.
Yeah. So he's still young, and I mean, I'm sure if you gave him a shot, he could probably, he's in that range now though where he doesn't contribute anything other than as a running back, and he's not going to be a starting running back. So you need somebody that can do special teams and other stuff. So he's probably,
Yeah, he didn't look good when he played for the Jets.
no, he did not. And again, when running backs lose it, it's obvious and it's just gone. And it's
Well, here's my suggestion: you go to the WWE and be a tag team wrestler with Antonio Brown.
Well, I don't know if this is our other Steeler moment, or the Steeler middle week. Antonio Brown has significant interest from a number of NFL teams this year, according to his agent.
According to Antonio Brown?
According to his agent, who I'm not sure who his agent is. Yes. I don't think that's true because it's hard to imagine though. But when they show he's still, if you rank most productive receivers of the last decade, he's still in the top 5 on that list, even though he hasn't been in the NFL for 3 years. So
Yeah, I think he's just been out too long.
Yeah,
and now he's quit twice.
And he's
quit on his team twice. You can't. Nobody's gonna take a flyer on that.
Unless you're Daryl Morey and the guy's name is James Harden. Yeah, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
You can't keep quitting. But James Harden can keep quitting. I got to keep taking shots at James Harden too because I don't like him.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other big NFL story is DeAndre Hopkins just flat out released and is a free agent right now.
Yeah, and we talked about this a lot offline, and I think it's a combination of things we talked about. I think they probably did everything they could to get something back for him.
Yeah.
But the salary is just scaring people away at this time of year. If this was December or January, maybe, but it's still a big hit.
Yeah, and I think there was something too is they released him now as opposed to holding on till after June 1st. His dead cap hit is all this year. And if you look at the Cardinals, they have their first round pick. They have the Texans' first round pick next year. They have 6 picks in the top 3 rounds. You're starting Colt McCoy at quarterback this year. You were preparing yourself to get rid of Kyler Murray and end up with Caleb Williams and have a whole new. That you're looking to just refresh, if you will, if you're the Cardinals.
That's not a bad philosophy, though.
It's not. He's, I don't know if Caleb Williams is quite the Victor Wembanyama, but he's a highly regarded prospect.
I'd rather have Caleb Williams than Kyler Murray.
Oh, without a doubt.
So, let's just make it that's clean and simple.
Yeah. But, if the Texans are bad, you could have 2 top 10 picks next year. You get rid of, and again, I think they liked Hopkins, but this is also maybe a favor to him, go do you, but let's make sure, holding on to you to try to trade you to get a 5th round pick and then we eat part of it cap, let's get everything off the books now.
Yeah.
We'll play Colt McCoy and whoever we have this year, hopefully have Caleb Williams. Maybe we get, Marvin.
They could actually probably have 2 top 5 picks next year.
Yeah, you could end up with Marvin Harrison Jr., the best receiver in the last 5 or 6 years coming out, and Caleb Williams, the best draft pick at quarterback since, in a while.
That'd be pretty impressive.
And that's a pretty nice turnaround if you're, one fan year of eating crap.
I would, what? I would lose every game if that could be my outlook.
Yeah.
I'd lose every game.
It is. It's very realistic. And again, then you have, first pick in the 2nd round. I think they have the Texans or somebody's 2nd round pick. They've got 2/3. It's the way to go if you're and they have a new GM too who had no ties to anybody. So now how you get rid of Kyler Murray, I have no idea what that.
I don't know
because he's got a giant contract. He can't stay healthy and he doesn't seem like he's anybody's favorite person.
No. Well, I have my best football news of the week.
Okay.
My best football news of the week is the Steelers now have an affiliation officially from the NFL that Ireland is part of their marketing territory.
Yeah.
Which will almost guarantee that the Steelers will play there, if not in 24, then in 25. But I think there'll be a game in 24. And so, like I told you and Dan, it's going to be a Sutton family trip to Dublin to see the Steelers. Yeah. I think that will be a tremendous trip.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So that was my highlight of the week trip.
And then the scariest team for DeAndre Hopkins to come back and have a good year will be the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, I just don't see it happening because they just got too much money accounted for other places. I don't see them being able to free up that kind of money. But like I heard this morning, I would not be surprised if it was the Browns.
Yeah.
And reunite him with Deshaun Watson and put him on that team, and we'll see.
As a Steeler fan, I suppose neither scenario is great. I guess I'd rather see him go to Kansas City. I don't know. Because whether it's the Bills, the Browns, the Ravens, the Chiefs, none of those are great scenarios as an NFL fan if you're not one of those teams.
No, and you know what? I'm gonna throw this out there just to stir up the water.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is an old man.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to really put all your chips in, that's another good chip to have.
Yeah, they're pretty stacked. I mean, you've got last year's offensive rookie of the year at wide receiver. You brought in Lazard. Yep. I don't know if I can't remember if they brought in Randall Cobb too. Probably.
Oh, they did. I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whoever else they can bring in, it was a Packer.
Did they sign Odell, or who signed Odell?
Why am I blanking on Odell now? Someone signed Odell, right? Oh, the Ravens, right? No?
Yeah, that's right. The Ravens signed Odell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would not be surprised to see if the Jets dabble in this one.
Yeah, I mean, technically, you've got, Odell, who's been, brilliant when he's been on the field, but hasn't played much in the last 3 years, outside of that Super Bowl run with the Rams. He's a Raven now, and you don't really know what you're getting out of him. Again, post-30, lots of injuries. D-Hop, is 31, going to be 32 midseason. He's missed most of the last 2 years, either due to injury or suspension. You got a guy like Allen Robinson, who was the hot free agent last year, thought they were going to reinvent the Rams offense, is now with the Steelers. So you got a lot of post-30 wide receivers that you're just like, are any of these guys, are they all just sort of, or are they all exciting?
Yeah. Like I said, you got a small window with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So you go all in. You mortgage the future, and you go all in.
Yeah.
So this is going to be an interesting story. We'll follow this the next week to 10 days on the show.
And I guess
somebody's going to sign him in a week to 10 days.
And supposedly Belichick and the Patriots really like him, but then you got a question. D-Hop said he wants all-pro quarterback, great offensive coordinator, chance at a Super Bowl, and I don't know if the Patriots fit that criteria.
Yeah.
No offense, Mac Jones and Patriot fans, or Billy Zapke, whoever.
And then we got Dalvin Cook now being talked about as a Dolphin.
Yeah, like they need more weapons on that team.
Yeah.
But they've got the giant question mark of
It's going to be a really, really interesting and exciting NFL season.
I can't wait.
And I'll say that.
And my fantasy football draft, because I'm in a dynasty league, is in 9 days. So it's pretty exciting.
Have you bought your YouTube TV yet?
I have not. No.
Got to get on that. You're coming up to the deadline for the special deal.
It's true. I do need to get on that. I'll talk to you later about that one.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we have any more sporty stuff? Are we ready for?
Well, I'm trying to think. Not much going on in baseball.
No.
Nothing exciting. I mean, it's still early.
Yeah, I think that's.
The Rays are playing the Dodgers this week in Tampa. And that's actually putting fans in the stands in Tampa. We're in the conference championships for college baseball, and then their regionals start next week. So I will be watching Vanderbilt playing for the SEC championship today, and Oklahoma State playing for the Big 12 championship today. So I do have an interest in my college baseball.
We might be the only podcast that talks about college baseball and softball.
Maybe.
That might be the niche.
I do have some. I have food and entertainment.
Okay.
Okay, so for my food, was after I talked to you, we drove up to LA, and we went to a place called John and Vinny's, which has four different locations.
Okay.
And we had a salad, split a pasta dish, and had a pizza. And it's called a Brooklyn Bomber, which was like a a margarita pizza with some zip in it, okay?
Okay.
I would put that pizza as the first pizza I could challenge Fiore's with.
Oh. Oh, my.
It was really, really good.
And you said Los Angeles, not New York, not Italy.
I said Los Angeles.
Okay.
And, it was, everything's made in that store. The pasta, everything. The pizza was, exceptional. It was crisp. It was thin. Sauce was great. Cheese was great. It was amazing. So that's my food shout out. Really impressed with it. And then for entertainment, I did go to my first concert ever at the Hollywood Bowl. And I was very impressed with the Hollywood Bowl.
Good acoustics, as they say.
Great acoustics. It was about 58, 59 degrees because it was up in the Hollywood Hills. So it was a little cool. You got a little box for 4 people. And you're allowed to bring food in. There was tables in the box. It was really cool. Okay, all that is really good. All right. At 6:30, as we're walking into the venue, Linda gets a text saying that the Wallflowers will not be playing.
Oh.
That some guy named Nathan McDaniel or Nathan McClanahan. Have you heard of this guy?
I can't say that I have, no.
Neither had I. He was decent, but he wasn't the Wallflowers.
But you wanted to see Jacob Dylan.
I wanted to see Jacob Dylan and the Wallflowers.
Yeah.
And Matchbox 20 was, I'm not a Matchbox 20 fan.
Right.
So, but the venue experience was unbelievable. Really, really good, really cool.
Okay.
So I would give it that. It's just that, I got over the disappointment because the venue got me over the disappointment. It was like going to Wrigley Field or Fenway Park.
Nice.
It was that cool.
Very nice.
But, just wow.
Yeah. I think I have a somewhat disappointing entertainment moment. We finished Yellow Jacket season 2.
Oh, that's right. The finale was on.
Yeah, you had already dropped off. I know Mom was still watching.
Yep.
I think for a show that I was really hot on after season 1, I don't care about season 3. I wanted to still, it just sort of went off the rails. I don't know what, it just sort of like it had all this momentum, all this great parallel timeline storytelling going on, and then it all just sort of in this last season. I mean, the actors are still good. That wasn't the acting, or it just didn't pull it together to the point where I don't think the day it comes out for season 3 that I'll be re-upping my showtime so I can make sure that I'm there to watch episode 1.
Yeah, it lost me. Like I said last week, we finished The Night Agent. I really liked it. We watched the next to last 2 episodes of Ted Lasso. I can kind of see where that's going.
Right.
But it's okay because it's such a well-written story.
Okay.
So the last issue of Ted Lasso will be Wednesday night. So I'm excited to see that. And have you started Platonic?
No, we have not.
Okay. I think we are going to try and start that this week. That does look very intriguing.
Yeah, that looks like a fun show.
It's like a fun show, and given all the murder and real crime and mysteries I watch, it's like a palate cleanser.
There you go. Yeah, we watched a couple crime documentaries that, again, just leave you feeling like most people on this planet are garbage. And our entire justice system is garbage. So, it's not great.
Sad statement, isn't it?
Kinda, yeah. It's very, very sad.
I guess we're going to try The Diplomat, too, because I've heard really good things about that.
Okay. Is that Kerry Russell?
Watched The Night Agent, said, watch The Diplomat, it's really good.
Now, I know one of people's favorite shows. I don't think it's quite the show that some websites make it out to be. But did you guys watch Succession, or did you not watch Succession?
No, we haven't, but I think I need to. Too many people told me I need to.
Yeah. And
somebody told me the other day that I remind them of the old man. So, Jesus, I have to watch it now.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that show is coming to its series finale, and it's a very beloved show, and, But again, like you, despite having HBO and now Max as opposed to HBO Max, Have not checked it out, but I hear it's very good, and I mean to start that one soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. Maybe
All right. Well,
next week.
I'm going to be in New Orleans this weekend with Jason, so we will be exploring food.
Yeah. So until next week.
Take care.